Hello and welcome to the Anime Madness Reviews. I'm your host HenDiddy and I'm joined here today with my review co-host Killer Cup 412.
What's up?
And the head of the Jaegers himself, Skeletony.
What?
I mean Taco.
What's up, brother?
Tuesday.
Special
Tech
teams,
Tuesday,
special
Tech
plays, special players.
The fuck factory's open.
God damn it.
I love Sketch. Sketch is a national treasure.
Oh boy. So today we're going over episodes 4 and 5 of Avatar: The Last Airbender. You can somewhat see it, but there's a Sokka and Suki up there, right above my shoulder. You can kind of see it. It's kind of there. I'll bring them closer before the end of the stream, though. But either way, we start off with Aang in prison. Nothing talking.
In prison.
I'm trying to remember episode 4 and 5, okay?
So 4 was the breakout of Amashu.
Right.
It was the episode where Sokka confronts Sai, which happens right after Aang and Iroh have another back-to-back in through prison bars again.
Yeah.
We finally get Teo's name.
Yes.
And we get Zuko going undercover before we get the title screen.
Yes. Which is...
So, how do you think that was? I watched this on Monday. This is why I'm waiting till like the week of to watch them, so I don't forget the stuff.
I watched it. It feels like so long ago. Like, I don't know why. Like, 4 and 5, like, blend for me. But, like, episode 6, I could tell you. I'm like, yeah, alright.
Well, from what you've told me, if the mouse would work. I still need to buy a new mouse, I know.
Episode 6 go crazy.
Yeah, from what you've been telling me, episode 6 is like the best episode.
It's up there. Yeah. It's like...
We go right after the
Yeah,
opening scene. We go 100 years ago with Aang and Bumi in the past, where I'm guessing it's the whistle because they don't really say what it is.
Yes, that's exactly what that is.
Yeah.
I'm starting to remember.
And then we come back to the present with Iroh in prison, trying to find a way, like, inspecting the walls and saying, one thing you can trust about Earthbenders, they make good prisons.
They do. You do indeed.
Not a single gap to get out, unless you're an Earthbender. Then we have Sai telling Sokka and Katara where the prison is, because they're gonna go try to save them. And then we have Iroh being taken to the pit.
Mm-hmm.
All in all, so far, not bad.
No.
4 starts off not bad at all. Sai gives them the maps, and Aang gets taken to see Bumi. This is where I feel things started to fall off for this episode with Bumi.
I'm curious again.
With Bumi, the way that Bumi's games were.
I didn't like how Boomy was.
Yeah, and it didn't feel like Bumi and Aang meeting.
It didn't feel like Boomy at all.
Yeah.
At least to me.
Yeah, the whole feast that happened wasn't until they did that with Katara and Sokka after all the trials were completed.
No, that was the first thing they did.
That was the first thing they did?
It was the first thing they did.
I'm talking about in the original.
Yep, first thing they did.
First thing, okay. Then we have Jet confronting Katara again, trying to plead his case.
There's no pleading.
No, and they cut out that entire village. Because, I mean, what's the point of it anymore? Jet already got his thing.
Yep. That is true.
And then she attacks Jet with waterbending.
Yes.
And then we have Zuko showing up to the prisons looking for Iroh. Says how he's late. And then we go to the feast. Which, it didn't feel... Everything with Boomy except for the final fight, I didn't like. Just everything felt off. Everything felt wrong. Even trying to look at it with like the mature mentality, how they were trying to go with the show, it still felt wrong.
Say I'm with you on that.
Because like, yeah, I wanted the giddiness and the happiness that was the original cartoon, but it's also like seeing a darker version of Avatar. I wouldn't mind seeing if done right. So I'm looking at it from the mature mindscape that they had for the intention, and it's like, yeah, okay, I do like the way they did that for the darker themes. It makes sense to do it that way for the darker theme. But then it's just like, Boomy is such an out there character. How are you going to make his character fit the darker themes while still keeping that slight goofiness like they did with Sokka? They still kept them with some comedy, even with the darker themes. How are you going to do that with Boomy, who is basically a gag character in the original?
Well, Batman, the original.
So,
Yeah, sorry. For Boomy, it threw me and the wifey off. I don't think, like, he, like you said, he is so out there, and he's goofy. He does, fucking stupid ass shit. And they did add key features from the show where he eats the crystal and stuff like that. But it's still not Boomy.
yeah,
It's not the same.
it didn't feel like Boomy at all.
And the whole lettuce leaf joke wasn't even there.
No, it was. Because I'm on a screenshot right now where it's literally him waving the lettuce. Okay, let me...
I think it was iterated differently though. It wasn't saying let us leave.
I have it, No, it is let us leave.
I don't fucking remember. In like 2 months.
Hey, I'm sending you an image right now. If I can find you. I cannot... There you are. Because I have the subtitles on with it muted in case it's like something like this we're discussing. But yeah, he does say let us leave while waving the piece of romaine. And that's when Aang asked, "Don't you care?" And this is one scene where I feel like they actually did Boomy pretty well, but the only time Boomy was done well. And it's when he's telling Aang, you haven't lived for the last 100, you haven't seen the last 100 years and all the death and destruction and all that. The way Boomy got in that moment, I feel like in the mature aspect that they're going with, it felt real. It felt like that's something Boomy would say to Aang to try to get him to understand. Compared to what we've been through, you haven't been through shit. Which isn't entirely true, but to a point, Aang hasn't been through as much as anybody else in the world in the last 100 years, especially people who are still alive since it started, like Boomy. You see what I mean with that?
Boomy.
Do you have anything on that, Taka?
But the whole Boomy thing.
About when he gets up and goes to Aang during the feast about you haven't lived for 100 years. and talking about like how basically he's gone through nothing compared to what everyone else has gone through the last 100 years.
Man, he's technically right, but like every I don't know what it was. Just everything about Boomy felt so off.
The way the actor portrayed Boomy in that scene where he's explaining that was like the only upside to Boomy other than the final fight with Aang, because I did actually enjoy that fight.
With that.
Yeah, and then after we have Boomy explaining, we get Sokka and Katara starting the journey in the jungle, and Sokka, I feel like so far out of the 5 episodes I've watched, this episode had the most Sokka comedy.
Agreed.
Because as soon as they walk in, Sokka's just like, okay, I'll pick up the maraca, and just gets right into it.
Yeah.
Then we get the lesson on how Omashu was built, and the story of the Badger Moles. Which, I don't remember the Badger Moles being introduced like this in Book 1.
But they weren't introduced until we had Toph.
Yeah, like the actual,
No,
like...
That's a lie.
Were they there in Omashu?
They were there.
Okay.
The only thing that's different about the tunnels is that Aang is not there.
Aang's not with them. I knew there was something with the tunnels that was wrong.
Aang is not there. Because that's when the whole relationship between Katara and Aang starts.
Also...
Since it's the two lovers or some shit. Yeah, that's when the whole thing starts.
I was talking to Tony about this.
Can't forget Secret Tunnel.
On the way to the pit, Iroh drops the White Lotus piece. Next time we see Zuko, he's picking it up and saying, "I'm coming for you, uncle." Now, Tony believes it's just, because it's a Pai Sho piece. It's... like, he knows it's his uncle because it's a Pai Sho piece. But the thing is, how big the Pai Sho piece is, and the fact that it's the White Lotus piece, it makes you immediately think, does Zuko already know about the White Lotus?
Not even close. I didn't even think of that at all.
Like, my first thought was, hold
He
up.
figured because his uncle is so into Pai Sho.
So Tony was right with that, with the Pai Sho representation.
Honestly, this isn't in the live action, but if you remember in the original, this is before they meet Zhao. This is before they meet Zhao.
Yeah.
Iroh says to Zuko, because they change course, and that's how you meet everybody else. Like, you meet Zhao for the first time. He was looking for his White Lotus piece, because he said he lost it. That's not in the live action.
No.
So since technically the White Lotus piece is technically mentioned to Zuko, Zuko seeing the White Lotus piece would still signify that it was Iroh.
Okay. Speaking of Zuko, when we get to episode 5, oh boy, do I have something about that. With Ozai.
Oh, it was so good.
I love every second Ozai's on the screen because he's like Iroh and Sokka. They're like perfect.
The Ozai casting.
The script when he's talking to Azula in episode 5. Oh my god. I was sitting here like, what the fuck? Moving through, we have the Earthbender who's punching him. And then we have the Emerald Dust Trial. Which looked really good. It felt out of place, but looked really good.
Yeah.
And then right after that, we get Zuko finding the tile.
Yes.
And then we cut back into the caverns. We cut around a lot in this episode.
It was very jump cutty.
It was very jump cutty. Now, a couple of them, they did the transitions that was really good, like how they transitioned between them. Like, I think going back to the tunnels after Zuko picks up the piece, the camera stays still while he walks by, and as like his uniform passes by and shows that little bit of blackness is when the lights come up for Katara and Sokka. Let me just make sure real quick. No, that was just a straight jump cut. Never mind. What am I on? But now we have the argument between Sokka and Katara about Katara wanting to follow the map and Sokka wanting to go off his hunch and instinct. And it's before they find out the tunnels change. I feel other than the Aang not being there, it wasn't bad. But it was definitely more meaningful with Aang and Katara being there. But with the way they have Katara and Sokka's relationship in this version, it does make sense to have them two be the ones to go through it. Especially since they added Jet into this arc.
Yeah.
Adding Jet into the arc really puts the tension between them two. So having them two doing the tunnel makes a lot more sense in that way of storytelling to bring them back closer together as siblings.
Yeah, but like that ruins any relationship, like the whole relationship that is built up from that episode with Aang and Katara. It killed it, all of it.
Yeah.
It's just gone. The whole thing is gone.
We'll just have to see how they go about their relationship.
But we can all agree, Secret Tunnel still bangs.
No, it was still good. We have more of the guards bullying Iroh, which wasn't bad. Anything with Iroh really isn't bad. Then we have the flashback to Iroh's son's funeral. Any thoughts on this?
Perfect. It was perfect, I agree. It's the first time we get to see it.
Yeah, it's added.
There we go. Just had to do a quick ban on the chat.
It is indeed added, yeah. It's definitely an added scene. Definitely not in the OG. Glad we saw it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I shouldn't say enjoyed it, but you know what I mean.
We're glad to see it.
Yeah. I'm happy they had Zuko turn around and come back to Iroh, because what Zuko said just felt way too cold.
Agreed.
Especially when, like, in their family, the closest person to Zuko is Iroh.
You do have to remember, Zuko was kind of a dick to Iroh.
He was, which is why I'm happy he came back during the funeral and he actually still cares and relies on him. Other than his mother, which we still have not, in the first 5 episodes, we still have not heard anything about Zuko's mother.
You don't hear anything about Zuko's mom till book 3 anyway. You don't see anything till like book 3, or the end of book 2.
I think it is in book 2. I still have to go rewatch the original, but I want to get through this whole review.
I want to say it's not until the end of book 2.
Yeah, coming back and passing the medallion back to Iroh, I feel was really good. And then we
Agreed.
go back to the tunnel, which I think this scene of the tunnel is when we get the Badger Mole.
I thought the Badgers looked great.
No, not in this tunnel portion. And we don't get the Badger Mole in that tunnel portion. I think it gets for Bode or something. No, it's when they first. This is the scene where they find out the walls are shifting. And the map is basically useless. And then we go back to Boomy and Aang. What was... Oh, and this is the start of the fight. We basically get the setup of the fight, and then we go back to the tunnels again, where we get the Badger Mole. Badger Mole looked great.
Yeah, the Badger Moles look fantastic.
And that's literally all we get for that tunnel scene. It's just the Badger Mole showing up, and then we cut back to Iroh.
I really want to touch on the tunnels more.
Yeah, what do you,
Okay.
what do you got with the tunnels?
So, one, still mad that Aang wasn't there.
Very reasonable.
I'm also, I don't want to say mad, but I could say disappointed. Because I don't know how much you remember from the original.
It's patchy at best.
So, when they first meet up with the travelers and they're singing Secret Tunnel, we don't really get their names, but if they do, I don't remember them.
They didn't say them in the live action, at least.
But I think they say them in the original, but I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Sokka was like, "Nah, we're not gonna go through the tunnel. We're gonna go over because they have Appa."
Mm-hmm.
And then they get shot at by fireballs by the Fire Nation. They all come back in like char and smoke, going, and through the tunnel we go. Like that's like that little stuff right there is just like, I know we can't get everything,
Yeah.
but like that little interaction would have been great.
Also, Appa's not with them in the city at the moment.
No, Appa's not even there.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is Appa?
He's probably outside the city because at the end of the episode, it makes no sense how they did this. They already had them flying on Appa at the end of this episode, but then they're running on foot out of the city in the beginning of the next episode before jumping on the Appa.
Exactly. It makes
Like, what
no
happened? Did they
sense.
leave from the castle on Appa, or did they walk out the doors to go to Appa and then was chased down by firebenders?
like
What happened? Where's the continuity?
it makes no sense. Like, they have Appa in the OG, and they come back. You know, like I said, they get shot at by fireballs, and again, Sokka goes through the tunnel. It is, and then the rest is the rest in the tunnel, like how it should be.
Yeah.
You get the whole thing with Katara, and you learn about the Badger Moles and everything else, like we already learned, but it's missing that. Not alone like the comedy part, like the Aang thing is like
The
fucking
Aang thing
crucial.
is big,
It's fucking crucial.
but it already feels like they sped up Aang and Katara's relationship, as seen in the first episode.
Yeah,
It feels like they really like hit fast forward on their relationship.
is whatever, but like that was like that's the biggest thing of the tunnels.
Mm-hmm.
Was that.
And
And then
like I
it's-
said, for this version, they had Jet in this arc, which
Jet should have
drives that. Jet's whole thing was basically he drove a knife between Sokka and Katara, and having them in Omashu makes it make sense for them to be in the tunnels together.
Yeah, it does, but
The way this storyboarding went, it still makes sense. It just sucks that we don't get to see a better progression of Aang and Katara's relationship, and it feels more like their relationship is just fast forward.
yeah.
Especially,
When did Jet actually show up? Wasn't it
after Omashu.
Fire?
No, it was after Omashu. It was before the Northern Air Temple.
No, it's before that too. It's before Amashu.
It's before Omashu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really got to go back and watch the original. I'll try to have
Yeah,
the
it's
original
before Omashu.
rewatched before we do the final episode. That way, like at least book one.
Netflix dog. Get right through there.
Yeah. So like when we
21
do
episodes, I believe.
when we do the final episode of this, we'll do episode 8 of the live action, and then a full compare and contrast with the original.
Peak good try.
It was definitely a lot better than the one we don't name.
That's why I say good try.
Yeah, like they already got confirmed for season 2.
And 3.
They already got season 3 too.
Season 2 and 3. Yep. So we're getting the full series.
Nice.
Al is gonna be weird.
Also, on
considering
Webtoons,
the Aang casting.
on Webtoons, we have the new stuff. The new comic is on Webtoons.
Plus, the new animated cast is getting revealed.
Yep, and the new comic takes place right after book 3.
Good. I'm not reading anything. I just want to watch it. I'm not reading a goddamn thing.
And literally, I read the first part of the first chapter because the first 7 chapters are up, and I was like, "Oh, Avatar's on Webtoons, cool." I go on, I'm like, "Why is Toph on episode 4?" So I click into episode 1, and it's literally them talking about rebuilding one of the villages that was a colony of the Fire Nation in the Earth Kingdom, and they're like, Aang's going to rebuild it. Like him and Zuko are debating. Zuko's the Fire Lord, and it's it's right after the end of the series, and it's picking up on the rebuilding part that got completely skipped over in between Avatar and Korra.
It's a damn shame.
But Zuko's arrival to save Iroh. This fight was great. I enjoyed every second of this fight. The fact that Iroh spares him, and then like Iroh staying true to his morals spares him, and then gets punished for it basically.
Yep.
That every bit of this fight was, I just enjoyed. I was just enjoying it the entire way.
Again, we've touched on this, I think, every episode of the reviews. The bending is fucking awesome.
Bending is great. Iroh is great.
Yeah.
Anything else on that fight? Because that pretty much wraps up that plot line of this episode. I think there's one last bit, and it's them getting on the boat.
I still think the crucial miss point is still tunnels, but nah, not much to touch on the fight.
And as you say that,
Cabbages.
my cabbages. The fact that at the very start of episode 1 starts with that, or episode 4 starts with that. Speaking of the tunnels, though, we're back in the tunnels with them running from the Badger Mole and hitting a dead end and fighting love in the dark.
Again, crucial piece missing.
Yeah, I feel like every time we talk about the tunnels this episode, that's going to be what you say.
So true.
Luckily, this is the last bit of the tunnels we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Because after this, they ask the Badger Mole for guidance to the palace. And we go right into basically the final parts. The climactic part of the episode. King Boomy versus Avatar. And all I can say was 10 out of 10 for this part.
Oh yeah, it was great.
This fight was awesome. I had no complaints with this fight. Everything was done very well. Especially the ending with who do you save? Yourself or me? And then Katara coming in. And this is where we get the first bit of what the absolute fuck with Katara's bending. Because she creates an ice. She creates ice.
I mean, she creates ice earlier than that, but, like, not to that extent.
No, like, this is the first big moment where she creates ice, and it's like, what the hell? She doesn't learn to manipulate ice until the Northern Water Tribe in the North Pole.
Yeah.
But Sokka was MVP.
Yeah.
The whole tackle on Boomy, and then Boomy getting pissed off again. And then Aang giving him the whistle. Then we have the farewells. Sai betraying the Fire Nation to actually be a true mechanist for Boomy.
I'm still mad that they were there that early.
I am too. And then we get the final scene of Iroh and Zuko of the episode, with them getting on the boat. And this is where we get the flashback of Zuko with his bandages, which still haven't seen that moment yet, how he got the scar. I've come fully prepared, all the tea I need.
Iroh's a goat.
That'll happen.
Memory.
Oh yeah, that's right. Zuko does says that. So this part they do have right, that he's not to return to the Fire Nation until he finds the Avatar. That part is right.
Yep.
But it's still like, it is a mission in the original, but it's kind of like a banishment. In this, especially in episode 5 with that Ozai scene I'm talking about, it doesn't feel like a banishment at all.
I agree with that.
And I love Iroh's response to, like, we may never return home. I have all the tea I need.
The guy who played Iroh is incredible.
He's awesome.
Great. Perfect fit.
And that's the end of episode 4. So, as we've been doing at the end of each episode, we give the episode a rating out of 10 and take the average. So, episode 4. Cope, what is your rating?
I'm gonna give it let's go 6.
A 6. Taka?
We get a solid 4.
A 4. Man, that tunnel really messed you up.
Yeah, it's pretty crucial.
Yeah. I think I'm going to give it a 6.5 because Boomy really does help it at the end. Like, only the end part.
It's fair. It's fair.
So overall, this episode comes out to a 5.5 out of 10. And I believe that is the lowest rated episode we have so far.
As it should be, I'm sorry.
That's rated lower than the Kyoshi Warriors episode.
I liked that episode, but there's a lot wrong with it.
Moving into episode 5, Spirited Away, which I just watched today, and I'm going to say this right now. I liked every moment of this episode. This episode was, like, very, very well done.
5 was very good.
So this is where we start with them running from the Fire Nation, and we get... This was the worst part of the episode. Katara using an ice block like an earthbender. Just why? Why?
That one kind of hurt my soul a little bit. I can't lie to you about that. That one hurt a little.
Then we get a little conversation between Aang and Katara. Again, it's more helping their relationship, that conversation on Appa. And we get the title screen. Spirited Away. Where we come upon a burnt forest. And Aang is in despair. Katara tries to consult him with an acorn. Which, I mean...
It's true to the original.
FD3SO2. Thank you for the follow.
That is true to the original, by the way.
Yeah, I felt it as a very, very good scene. I feel getting that conversation between them was a must for this.
Agreed.
Oh my god. First bit of Sokka comedy we get this episode. When he finds the little, like, spirit girl.
Yes.
And Sokka, it rhymes with Aka and Waka Waka. As soon as he said that, my mind immediately went Anya.
Yes.
And I just could not stop laughing. This is the Sokka moments we need. And then we get the village. Which, for some reason, I'm blanking on what, like, really happened. Okay, they're asking me about the forest. So they're getting information on the forest from the village. And then we go to Zuko with Gorilla Man.
Leave Gorilla Man alone.
Which, they say his name this episode.
Yes.
They say his name this episode. I have it playing right now because I can't remember his name because I always know him as Gorilla Man. Yeah, and Gorilla Man really does have the brains of a gorilla. You thought it was normal for kids to be playing with ice blocks where ice shouldn't exist?
Yes.
Like that.
I think so. I think it's perfectly normal.
Lieutenant G is his name for Gorilla
Yes.
Man. I'm still gonna call him Gorilla Man throughout every time he's on screen.
I do not blame you. He kind of does look like one. But I'm perfectly okay with it.
And then you can see it in his face, like he's getting aggravated with Zuko. As he says, I'll send some men to investigate. And Zuko immediately shoots him down, like, you should have already been doing that, so no, I'll do it myself. Which, if I was in Zuko's shoes, I'd react the same way, probably.
Yeah, understandably so. I can definitely see on why.
And here we go. Here's the Ozai's scene I was talking about earlier. So Zula is basically trying to make it to where Commander Zhao is the one that is the one doing all the good stuff on this mission so far. And Ozai's like, no, it wasn't Zhao. It was Zuko. And he's praising Zuko in front of Azula, saying how that is what a competent heir should do. Like, that is how a competent heir should be. Does that make you feel like he banished him to find the Avatar?
Honestly, I feel like it was just more to piss off Azula.
It could have been, but it's like...
That's all I think
If
that was.
he
It was
was-
just more fuel to the fire for Azula.
And the way he says, like, you shouldn't have, like, the petty... The way he explains the pettiness.
Yep.
That's what... He's the one that showed discipline and resilience. That's what I expect from a future heir. Not self-serving flattery and coy whispers. Like, yeah, he's degrading Azula, which is getting her pissed off, but he's also praising the hell out of Zuko.
Yeah, to piss her off. To eventually do what she does.
Yeah, but it also still feels like, especially because Zuko, though it's never like Zuko's banished. I never get that feeling in this version.
You'll see later on. like episode like 8. You'll see.
So the final episode, which I probably
Yeah,
won't watch
you'll
for
see.
like 4 weeks.
You'll see. You'll see.
So I try to watch them in the same week we do it, so I have the it's more at the front of my brain.
No. That's completely fair, but
Yeah.
you'll see why I say that.
That's why I haven't watched any episodes of Sandland yet, even though the dub started.
Oh yeah, I haven't touched it yet either.
What dub episode came out this week? Episodes 1 through 7 of the dub came out this week. Like, I haven't touched that yet, so I can just binge it the week leading up to that review episode since we're doing all 13 episodes. The same thing with Ninja Kamui.
That shit good.
Which, is there any other this season you want to do like a review episode on? And I won't. What? Solo. Oh, we could definitely do a review episode on Solo. We definitely could.
Kaiju would be wild.
How about this? Get Sage to watch Solo, and we can do that after the Sandland one, because I'm not gonna forget stuff from Solo. I know
You made
that.
a deal with me, and I have a lot to do if I'm gonna get that to go through.
Oh God, is it a One Piece thing?
Yep.
I had a feeling.
Oh yes, it is. And it's a lot.
And Kaiju's another one that I'm not gonna forget anything on, so I'm still gonna watch that weekly. But we could do that one after the Solo, because it'll give it time for Kaiju to come out, because it is set for 12 episodes.
It's not bad.
So all right, our next one will be from after those two. So we'll go Avatar, Sandland, Solo, Kaiju number 8, and then it'll probably be something from the summer season that we do for the episode after Kaiju. But all in all, I still love this scene with Ozai.
Ooh, yes.
Hold on.
What's up?
Sorry, it just popped in my head. You said summer season. Fucking Blue Lock. They're dropping.
We have the movie.
So the movie's releasing in Japan this summer.
July 25th is when the Blue Lock movie comes out here.
Is it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we could definitely do a episode on that. Movie release date. June 28th, 2024.
Oh, it's earlier.
Yeah, we could definitely do an episode on that. I'm going to see the Spy Family movie next Saturday, so there will be no Wormhole next Saturday. Our next Saturday stream will be the next episode of the review, with episodes 6 and 7 of Avatar in 2 weeks. And then on the 21st, more than likely will not be a Madness episode either. I'll explain to you guys off stream that whole thing as soon as we're done with this.
Okay.
Any complaints with the Ozai scene from either of you?
No.
Okay, so the Ozai scene. I have a question because I can't remember fully picture detail wise. This is when Zuko. No, wait, no. You're still talking about Azula, right?
Yeah, this is the Azula basically trying to put Zhao up when it was actually Zuko.
Yeah, never mind. I'm good. I
And-
think it was perfect.
Ozai knew the truth that it was Zuko, not
Yeah.
Zhao.
I'm thinking later on.
Alright, and then we're back in the woods with our main gang. And this is when Aang's talking to them about the spirit world, and they're looking for the shrine. Which, gotta say, even though it's in tatters, looks beautiful still.
Visually, this show is pretty fucking incredible.
Yeah. Sokka. We get more Sokka moments here when Aang's trying to meditate. I love that they stay true to that, because that is something I do remember. I do remember Aang having to tell Sokka to shut up.
He definitely does do that.
I love that. And
The
then,
next that's coming up is what kind of like threw me off.
what part?
Where all three of them end up in the spirit
Yeah,
realm.
I was kind of confused with that as well.
I was actually pretty bad about that.
I was honestly confused about that. I was like, wait, huh?
I was waiting to get there. I was waiting. I didn't say anything. I was waiting.
I was like, what?
That is completely false.
Yeah, like, and the way Aang tries to describe it is like, oh, it must be because of the energy in the area. It's like, no. That's not how this works.
Yeah, she's not there at all. She's trying to find Sokka the entire time in the original.
Yeah. And then we have Iroh and Zuko coming to the village. And they're trying to sneakily ask about the Avatar, and the bartender's just like, yeah, Avatar was here. And Iroh's, it seems they already know about the Avatar. Because Zuko's the one that says, like, not a word of the Avatar.
Yeah.
And we meet the mercenary for the first time. Which I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Junes.
Early.
Junes. That's right.
It's also early.
Yeah. Very early for Junes.
Yeah.
Back in the spirit realm. Which, the discoloration on the trees and stuff looks beautiful. We're going to say that a lot about the set design and all that. Because that is one thing that they have not missed at all.
Not at all.
Love the spirit of knowledge. The giant owl. And I love the fact that to Katara and Sokka, because they're not supposed to be there, they can't understand him. I love that. But the fact that Aang kept secret the fact that they're in danger, that's not something Aang would do.
Not wrong.
That felt off-putting, the way Aang was like scared to actually like say what the bird was saying. I was like, Aang would have said everything the bird said.
Yep.
Then we get the start of Azula's mental degradation on the training grounds. Now, someone I know is like, Azula isn't the psycho she was in the original. I'm like, she doesn't start as that psycho. It happens over time.
Yep.
Because she actually dropped it off at episode 2. Kyoshi is what made her drop it.
That's indeed what happened.
So it happens over time, and the way they actually show the degradation starting in this training match, the way Mai and why am I blanking on the other one's name?
Ty
Lee have to intervene. I felt the scene was actually very good. And Mai's the one that actually grabs her arm.
Yep.
And then we get the scene where June is actually properly introduced. Zuko brings up a good point. Their loyalty is bought and sold with money.
Yes, it was a very,
Very good point. But Iroh,
very.
being the god of wisdom in this world for some reason that he is, makes a very good counterclaim. she doesn't succeed, she don't get paid, she don't eat.
That's true.
If
Tis
she
fact.
fails, she doesn't get paid and she doesn't eat.
Tis facts. That's the facts.
And Iroh has to break it to Zuko. This isn't a normal battlefield. This is how it works out here. And we go back to the spirit realm where I feel things really picked up for this episode, but also was completely deviated. How did you feel about the spirit of the forest?
One more time.
The spirit of the forest. How did you feel about it?
But hey, bye.
Yeah.
I'd mind.
I didn't mind it either. I was half
Against.
I was half expecting it to be a bear, since it's represented as a bear in the shrine.
Remember, at first it's not.
Yeah, it's a very
That's the form that it's in.
very disturbing, grotesque.
Yes.
Which you can see how much they put into the darker themes, especially when we see Kyo later on.
Which is also early.
Yeah, very early.
I keep saying that, but it's true.
They find out that they can't bend in the spirit realm.
Yes. Which I feel like Aang already knew that.
Aang should have already knew that, but he didn't in this version.
Aang knew that already in the original.
Yeah. Because he also tries to bend before Katara. I think it's right after Katara bends he tries to bend.
Yeah.
No, it's Katara does it after him. Because she says, I can't either. And Sokka throws a rock at the thing.
Well, he tried.
And then we get the start of... Oh, we get the fox with Sokka, which I like this scene, the fox with Sokka.
You'll get more
Yeah.
about it.
And the fact that the fox literally calls out Sokka, you use comedy to hide the things you don't want to talk about, is like so relatable on so many levels.
Yeah, I did like that touch.
And then we get the start of the traumatic flashbacks, which we all know what Katara's is.
This is gonna sound so wrong, but I thought they did that. Of
You cut out.
course, I fucking did. I said this is gonna sound really wrong, but they did it really well.
They did. The fact that like she's basically blaming herself for her mother's death because she tried to waterbend and it made the firebender suspicious.
Yep.
I very much like that touch. What did you think about Katara's flashback, Cope?
It was very detailed.
Yeah, way
Yeah.
more detailed than the original.
Oh yeah. But I like all of the more information that we got out of it.
Mm-hmm. Because I don't think we learned that it was really like... I don't think they show like why the firebender... Why she actually had to like say, I'm the waterbender in the original. She just comes out and says it. But again, I could be misremembering.
She didn't do it to protect her. At that time, she actually didn't have any waterbending powers. Like
Yeah.
Katara. She
But-
didn't like tap into them.
Yeah. But I do like the way that they did that scene.
Agreed.
And then we get Sokka's. Which, correct me if I'm wrong, This is all added for Sokka.
I
believe
think
you're right.
I don't think he actually took the test in the original, and he basically was pushed into the position
he did.
he actually took the test.
He took the test. But that scene where his father put him down, that wasn't in there.
Well, yeah, I mean him actually getting like the mark and stuff in the ceremony for passing the test.
But no, actually, he never passed the test.
Okay, so yeah,
whenever he was a kid. In the original, whenever he ends up running into his dad again, that's whenever they go and they take the test.
But in this version, he's already taken the test and passed it. Which I feel the person they got for Bato and it doesn't Hokuto. Is that his name?
That sounds right.
They were great castings.
Agreed.
The other tribe members saying this is what it looks like when you pass the test. God, don't want to see what it looks like when you fail.
Yeah.
That and then yeah, the part where he actually learns like he actually should not have passed.
But he did.
And Ian did a great job with that scene.
Yep.
And the freaking jump scares of Ko. Because I wasn't expecting Ko to show up in Katara's.
Oh, was amazing.
And then when I was like, okay, Ko's gonna show up for Sokka now, and I was like, when is it gonna happen? And then it ends up being his dad that's Ko.
Okay, you know what's funny about the whole thing with Ko? They showed fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one thing you can't do. And they did it.
Yeah, and it's something like they didn't want to confront.
You can't show fear because he can steal your face.
Yep. And then we get Aang's.
Throw that out the window.
We get Aang's confrontation where he sees the Southern Air Temple in all its glory. Nope, this isn't real. This isn't real. It's an illusion. And then he comes face to face with Kyo. Or Ko. Ko looks insanely disturbing. And I loved every second of it.
Oh, Ko was incredible.
When he's switching through the faces, like, it looks so disgusting, but so good.
It is so disgusting. It was fantastic.
And then we have Aang escaping the fog and finding Gyatso. I love this. I love this whole scene. The fact that they actually start to talk is amazing.
Yep.
I was here for the entire thing.
Yeah, I love that.
The fact that Aang thought it was an illusion at first, and then Gyatso was like, no, this is not an illusion, and plays one of his old tricks on him.
Yep. That was such a good touch.
Very, very heartfelt reunion. Gyatso telling them about the attack and telling them it was a good thing you weren't there. Because even if you were, there was nothing you could have done. And you can actually, like, you can see it on Aang's face, like, he has the guilt of it but he also knows that, yeah, he couldn't have done anything if he was there. And the fact that Gyatso passed up on enlightenment for Aang.
He did do that.
And this is where he says that he needs to see Roku after explaining Kyo's cycle and all that. Which leads us to Aang going back to the regular world, having Appa and Momo watch over Katara and Sokka's bodies. With a monologue by Gyatso about keeping sight of what's important. And how the only thing that keeps us company is our own pain. We see Zuko on the boat, Azula training, Zhao up to his dirty tricks again, and Aang on his way to the Fire Nation to see Roku. And that is the end of the episode. Anything on that part of the episode?
Yes, actually.
Go for it.
They introduced Roku wrong.
Yep.
That was a big thing for me, because that's how...
Roku should have been introduced a lot earlier.
No, not even that. Roku should have been introduced, because how Aang finds everything out about Heibai is with Roku's dragon. And that's how Aang talks to Roku for the first time, and that's what he tells him to go to the temple.
Mm-hmm.
It's right there.
Yeah.
We don't get any of that.
None of it.
None. We don't get to see Roku until episode 6.
So, all in all, not a bad episode, though. Cope, any thoughts on this episode for you before we go on the ratings?
Honestly, like, my thoughts of the episode get better as the show goes on, because there's a lot from this episode that ties into future episodes. So,
Can't confirm that. That is highly true.
Yeah, I feel like all in all so far, yeah, there's a lot of things that they've missed on, but all in all, it's still not bad.
No.
Like it's not as bad as some people are saying it is. Granted, it's not as good as a lot of people are saying it is.
Right in the middle.
Like, I've seen some people saying it's as good as the One Piece live action. And I'm just sitting there like, what? No, it's not. I wouldn't put this anywhere near the One Piece live action. But would I put it near the other live action of Avatar or like Dragon Balls or Death Notes? No, I wouldn't put it near any of those either. Which I just remembered another one we got to do, the Yu Yu Hakusho one.
Yeah. Let's watch that.
So, what's your rating, Cope, for episode 5, Spirited Away?
I'd probably go with like a 7.5.
7.5. Taco?
I will go with a solid 6.
6. I'm going to go with a 7.5 as well. Sokka really, like, helped this episode. I was there for everything for Sokka. Which gives this episode an average rating of 7 from us. Which is on the higher end of all the episodes we've rated so far. I think the only one that's higher rated is episode 1.
Yeah, I think Speed episode 1 yet.
No, because I think episode 1 had like an 8 something. for the rating.
It helped because of we had the raid.
The extended content in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
With that said, I'll bring these closer. I met Sokka today. E.S.T. Had a little conversation with him. He had a bottle of Fiji water on his table. And the first thing I said was, the quenchiest? And his response was perfect. He goes, it's not bad, but doesn't compare to cactus juice. And then he asked if I wanted the autograph personalized, and I said, I was basically like, yeah, sure, whatever you think fits. And he just goes, Water Tribe. And and I just noticed he put a little smiley face in his O for his last name. I just noticed that. And I didn't meet her myself, but we also have Maria Zhang, who played Suki, and she put Kyoshi Warriors on it to mirror Water Tribe on Sokka's. So, Taka, what would you say if you got to see E.S.T?
It's the quenchiest.
You would do the same thing?
I have to. And that he's the boomerang guy.
Yeah, I love it how all I had to say was quenchiest, and he immediately just went, not as much as cactus juice, though. I love that. Cope, you got anything?
Nah.
So that's all for us today. Tomorrow we have Earth, Rock, Ground, and Stone. Which I gotta check the votes and get the winners put in.
Was my nomination too late?
Yes, it was.
Fuck. I look at the event. I look at the thing.
Yeah, voting ended a while ago.
Fuck.
Or the nominations ended a while ago. The voting got extended a week.
Fuck. I just thought, like, I was at work one day and I thought of him. I was like,
yeah, you put that nomination in on April 11th, and the nominations ended on April 4th. So, quick look at the votes. The winners of the votes are Ganju, Hashirama. Oh, shit, there's 2 ties. Toph, Alex Louise Armstrong, of course, Aaron won, and Mimosa Vermilion. So I'll get a pull out right now for the 2 ties, and they have until tomorrow at, I'll say, 7:30 work.
Sure.
Gives me a half hour to get them in. So we'll get that set up. But all in all, no podcast next week. For Sunday, that's still up in the air. I'll let it know in the Discord what's going on with that. I'm going to talk to these guys about it. More than likely, it might not happen. Same with chapter reviews for next week. But see you in 2 weeks for episodes 6 and 7 of Avatar. Any other final words from either of y'all?
Always stay humble, get rumbled.
Get some rogue energy. It's the quenchiest. No, nothing.
Not as much as cactus juice.
Hey, I got cactus juice. All right.